Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. I feel like I'm holding my head to the side. Hold on. Okay. Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Welcome. Everybody come on into the room. Hey Jared. I'm gonna give people just a few minutes to come into the room so we can talk about some things tonight, y'all, because I have some things I need to get off my chest. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do tonight. I think my computer is going a little slower than y'all are actually coming into the room. So okay, there we go. Hey Latoria. Let me get my stuff pulled up. Hey Derek. Hey Black Introvert. Hey the writer. Hey Edward. Y'all, we're gonna talk tonight. I feel a little bit better than last week. I came into the room and y'all was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, everybody's just getting on my nerves with this corona stuff. And I've kind of been, we've kind of been touching on it here and there, but I haven't just really, delved into it. And even tonight, we're gonna talk about the numbers and stuff a little bit. Hey Mark. We're gonna talk about the numbers and stuff a little bit, but I think there's a bigger thread that people are not either seeing or don't care about or aren't paying attention or are being diverted. I don't really know what's going on, but it's a very odd time. And so I kind of want to highlight some of those things, but hopefully everybody is doing good. We're all essentials over here, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully everybody is doing well on this Tuesday. Hopefully y'all are staying afloat and above the fray and not going completely crazy during this time where a lot of people are on lockdown, and it's just a lot. So before I get started, I want to go ahead and shout out. Hey, big boy. I want to go ahead and shout out my patrons. Thank y'all so much for supporting me. A special thank you to my VIP patrons, Michael, Ray, and Valdis. Thank y'all so much. And let's see. Hold on, y'all. I'm just giving people a few minutes to come into the room. Hey, Lavon. All right, y'all. Lavon says, how's house arrest? Y'all know I'm not about to sit down nowhere. I've been getting a little bit out and about, getting me some good sun. It was like really warm here last week. It was like amazing. It was perfect. I went fishing. I was like hanging out and stuff like that. And then this week it's a little bit chilly. So I guess some kind of cold front came through. So hopefully it's not a storm or anything coming. It's been a little rainy, but other than that, it's been okay. But hopefully y'all are doing good. Ozzy, I think that's how you say that. Ozzy G said fake epidemic. They want martial law in a communistic society. Edward Ivy said, this is so crazy. I barely turn on the TV at this time. So let me go ahead and start by prefacing this, just in case, I haven't already said this. or just for people that may now just be hearing me talk about the coronavirus pandemic, epidemic, whatever it is going on right now. I absolutely, of course, believe the coronavirus to be true. I do believe it is a disease that is actually happening. I think there are people that are suffering due to the coronavirus. However, okay. And of course, I want to give my condolences if, any of you guys, friends or family members have passed with any complications during this time or whatever the case may be. Helena was in here last week, and I think she said she had like a family friend or something that was in a hospital suffering with coronavirus or something like that. So yeah, I just want to preface it by saying that. And obviously I've said this before, life and death is not something that I take lightly. This is the only life, I can remember that I lived. And so, we want people to live. We want people to be safe. Y'all should be washing y'all hands every day anyway. I don't know, like I'm seeing all these hand washing posters and stuff all of a sudden. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like what is wrong with y'all? So yeah, I definitely want to make sure, that we are taking some safety precautions. However, Black Introvert said I'm buffering a little bit. Hey BMT. Oh man, Candace said they're messing with my video. Okay, y'all, let me know if it's still buffering. Candace and Black Introvert are saying it's buffering. So let me know if it's clearing up before I get my groove. It's funny y'all say this. Funny y'all say that, Candace, because there's this message going around. Okay, Big Boy saying it's good. There's this message going around saying, oh, due to, COVID-19, we're seeing an uptick in the people, watching YouTube on YouTube and stuff like this. And I'm like, and they're like, basically, due to this, you may have some issues like technical difficulties and stuff like that. And I'm like, could this also have anything to do with the censoring that you guys are trying to do? When things go viral, there's also, an uptick of people watching YouTube and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, okay, right. But anyway, so like I was saying, even though this is, a very unfortunate series of events that has led us here, I am completely seeing that the media and the politicians are 100% using this to their advantage. They are 100% using this crisis, this unfortunate situation, to pass all of the BS that they can't normally get through Congress. They're using it to flex their muscle, to do all this little authoritative BS. Okay, this is what we're going to talk about tonight. How the not only how the original numbers and the original projections that they were making have not added up, have not panned out. Okay, it also does not match the level of authoritative BS we are seeing right now. It does not match. Something's not adding up. And for people to not want to hear that or act like that's a problematic statement, it's something wrong. It's something wrong. Every other day, people get on this app and talk about, their mistrust of authority, mistrust of the media, mistrust of the government. And as soon as something like this happens, it's back to freaking square one. Like, people have just lost any sense of even historical context of what we've known this government to do. Even in the short time that I've even been paying attention to politics or doing politics. I don't even know if I can just really even say that. But even in the short time that I've been doing this, all of the stuff that I've noticed, we've talked about, I've called to y'all attention. People may not like this comparison, but I'm gonna freaking say it because this is relative to me in my lifetime, in my community, and how I've seen things pan out firsthand, okay? Nothing opened my eyes to how full of it the media is like Black Lives Matter. Why I say this is because very similar to the coronavirus, right? We know there was real police brutality happening. We know that, okay? We saw it in front of our eyes, just like we know the coronavirus exists. However, the media pulled out their little fangs. They bombarded us, okay? Every single media outlet was talking about police brutality, to the fact that you had just regular, single, everyday people thinking that just going down the street to their local Walmart, they're going to get knocked off by some random police officer. You had just regular people in fear of their everyday lives. And not only that, then we know you don't care because you switched the freaking narrative. You changed the narrative to be about kneeling, to be about flags, to be about people laying in the streets, to be about whether Black Lives Matter. That had nothing to do with the original topic, okay? Nothing else ever opened my eyes like that. That is something that happened in my lifetime. That is something that is a part of my generation. My freaking light bulb went off. Now they're doing the same thing with the coronavirus. So we know, yes, there are people dying from coronavirus. What does the freaking media do? Instead of focusing on the actual numbers, okay, they bombard you with fear mongering instead of completely focusing on a problem. Now you want to divert our attention into whether the name of the freaking virus is racist or not. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? When people are being laid off their jobs, when people are trying to find out how they're going to pay their bills, the first is tomorrow, by the way. You want to completely switch the narrative, and you're going to milk it until you can't milk it anymore. And then you're going to quietly let it phase out. They're already starting on the phase out part. When's the last time y'all heard about Black Lives Matter? Once they padded their pockets, and it's like you're reading a book, right? And you're going to the next chapter. That they may do a little, I can't even think of the word you call it, but they may do a little, it may come up here and there, but it's so last year, so last season. Nobody cares anymore. It's already happening. They're already doing this with the coronavirus. They're already starting to throw it out there just a little bit. Looks like we were a little off on the numbers. Now that they've cut y'all your little $1,200 check, all right, they've padded the money for the banks, the corporations. Now you have small businesses suffering. You have everyday people trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills tomorrow on the 1st. You have this self-quarantine or ban or whatever you want to call it that has been further extended. So now you have people worrying about what's going to happen going into May. And this is where we are. The check is coming, Blue May. It's coming in the mail, okay? Now that they've signed the bill, you're going to slowly see over the next couple of weeks, they're going to finally start giving y'all the real numbers. You're going to finally see this narrative starting to clear up a little bit. They're going to pull back a little bit on the fear mongering until eventually a new story comes around and they can focus on that. All right, so let's start here. This is what Representative Thomas Massey tweeted the other day. The stimulus package that just passed is the biggest wealth transfer from the common folks to the super rich, Wall Street and bankers in the history of mankind, done in the name of a virus with $1,200 checks as the cheese in the trap. This will be obvious in short order. You've been warned. All right, so this is Thomas Massie, the one person. So we talked about this, I think this had to be last week, right? So while the media was parading Nancy Pelosi around like she's some type of average Joe superhero, representative for the people, they were about to go do something so grand with this bill to make it so awesome for you guys. All the Democrats did was go and spray freaking perfume on a trash can. That's what they did. That's what they did. Okay? Nonetheless, everyday people, if you're not a small business owner, you're going to get your little $1,200 check. You might get $100 extra $500 if you have children. That's what you have coming to you in a time like this. So, the media doing what they do, they always have the power to make the good guy look like the bad guy and the bad guy look like the good guy. Everybody was going in on Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie houses Mr. No tries to force vote on coronavirus aid bill. Why should you have to force a vote when this is literally what we hire? Because you're paying them through your tax money. Even this money that they're trying to celebrate to you and tell you this is so awesome, this is the biggest relief of your lifetime, it's your money. It's your money, that a lot of it, we know they just spend it frivolously. I can't even say the word. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But the government constantly wastes money. We don't even know where it goes. Look at our infrastructure, our streets. Look at these public schools. Where is the money going? The Kentucky's libertarians' tactics fail, but not before forcing lawmakers back to the Capitol for passage of the $2 trillion coronavirus stimulus package, infuriating them and President Trump. When Representative Thomas Massie heard that House leaders wanted to pass a $2 trillion stimulus measure to respond to the coronavirus without so much as a recorded vote, he swung into outraged action. He got into his black Tesla on Wednesday and began to drive from his home in northeastern Kentucky to the Capitol, determined to object to his quick passage and insist that lawmakers show up in person, in defiance of public health advice to register their support or opposition. Now listen to this. Oh, he was recommending this in defiance of public health advice. Did we just forget that people were just voting in primaries? Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago? The DNC didn't call off those votes. Come on, keep it consistent. You got people coming out here saying, oh no, we got to figure out who it's going to be, Biden or Bernie. Y'all weren't calling for people to stop voting. But now when it's y'all and it's y'all safety and you actually work, you're being paid on the behalf of the American people. Now it's defiant. I came here to make sure our republic doesn't die by unanimous consent in empty chamber. Mr. Massie, the libertarian whose contrarian streak has earned him the moniker Mr. No, ultimately failed when House leaders in both parties united to deflect his stunt. assembling enough lawmakers in the chamber for a quorum and allowing the bill to pass by voice vote after all. President Trump signed the bill later in the afternoon, sending direct payments and jobless aid to taxpayers, help to states and hospitals battling the disease, and government bailouts to business battered by the crisis. But putting down his one-man revolt required scores for the House members to scramble late Thursday to return to Washington from all corners of the country. This
went on. People were tweeting him. Looks like a third-rate grandstander. This is what Trump said. Looks like a third-rate grandstander named Rep. Thomas Massey, a congressman from, unfortunately, a truly great state, Kentucky, wants to vote against the new Save Our Workers bill in Congress, in which he suggested that Mr. Massey should be expelled from the Republican Party. He just wants the publicity. John Kerry calling it stupidity. You had another person calling him a dumb A. I think you had just all kind of stuff. All kind of stuff. For the one person that will stand up and say, something's not right. I think we could have did this a little better. And I've told y'all, what do they call? I can't even think of the word right now. These omnibus bills are BS from the beginning. They do this on purpose. They used us, regular everyday people. They held us hostage. You're going to put this bill along with corporations. So now when you put all of this just garbage in there, they can always say, oh, now this person is grandstanding the bill. They don't want y'all to get y'all $1,200. They're holding up. So now they're just trying to speed up the process. And now this is how you just get anything through the door, because they know this is a very vulnerable time. When people are in a state of frenzy, fear, hysteria, that is the easiest time for people to be controlled. So that's no accident why this was originally a $1,400 bill. Okay, let's be clear about that. All right. Hey, everybody just coming into the room. Hey, Gab. So now you already have small businesses suffering. Small businesses, low income people. This is really going to affect middle class people if we don't get past this quickly. Small businesses, this is according to HuffPost, face extinction level event. Congress ensures big corporations survive. A large corporate bailout coupled with inadequate small business loans will likely give the biggest firms an even greater advantage in post-virus America. This is the part when they were so busy talking about y'all $1,200, when AOC and the other lady, I can't think of her name, the other congressman got up there and did all the theatrics, was talking with their hands, turning red, telling you they care about the everyday people, and then you still went and signed this trash of a bill. All right. America's small businesses may not survive the economic shutdown enacted by federal, state, and local governments to stop the spread of coronavirus, and Congress' $2.2 trillion relief package is unlikely to save them. The U.S. may already be in a recession that could become a full-blown depression, with unemployment not seen since the 1930s. Millions of businesses, restaurants, stores, bars, nightclubs, gyms, and more are shuttered, and millions more workers have no jobs, with the economy in an induced coma. In my view, they are all at risk from the shock because small businesses are really facing an extinction level event. Look at this. Hearst estimates that 84.2 million Americans are employed at businesses with fewer than 1,000 workers at a single location. This is something I want y'all to know. This is something I really want y'all to know and pay attention to. The media is always trying to make these big corporations the big bad wolf, the boogeyman, this and the other. Okay, they spend so much time focusing on Walmart, McDonald's, all these other things. Y'all have to think about the small businesses. You have millions and millions of people working at small businesses, okay? I worked at three small businesses. So I know a small business that recently, two of them, as a matter of fact, completely had to lay off all of their staff already. Hey, Darnell, already. So if you're able to support some of these small businesses, get your lunch. If you have a local owned grocery store or gas stations, please support these small businesses during this time where y'all can. But let's jump down here. To blunt the shock, Congress passed a third coronavirus bill on March 27 to provide relief to large corporations and financial institutions, small businesses, and the unemployed. It included, among other things, a massive expansion of unemployment insurance, $425 billion with few strings attached to aid large firms, tens of billions to bail out airlines and Boeing, and $377 billion to support small businesses, with $360 billion of that going out as loans that can turn into grants if businesses maintain payroll. So we know a lot of people work at the McDonald's and the Walmarts and the airlines. Okay, we understand it. We don't particularly want these agencies to fail because we understand how important they are, to the fabric of our economy. However, there are so many small businesses, and what we don't want to do is create an environment that completely removes the middle class and the people running these small businesses. We don't want that, because these problems that people think they are running from, they're actually going to lend more to, okay, if we don't have these small businesses to survive. So here comes CNN. It starts today. This is the beginning, y'all. This is the beginning. Mark my words. So they dropped a little, something a day. And then y'all are going to see slowly over the next couple of weeks, they're going to start showing you more of the real numbers. They're going to pull back on the fear mongering. Now that you've got your little check, they've done this wealth transfer. The big corporations are good. They got y'all to be quiet. They got us docile. Nobody's mad no more because the bill is passed. Now you're going to start to see, oh, well, our predictions were a little off. I mean, it's still a little worse than the seasonal flu, Still take your precautions, but our numbers were way off. So this was according to CNN, and I had the actual CNN article, but I guess I didn't pull it. But anyway, this is the same information over at MSN.com. Coronavirus death rate is lower than previously reported, study says, but it's still deadlier than seasonal flu. How many people die after being infected with the novel coronavirus? Fewer than previously calculated, according to a study released Monday, but still more die than the flu. The research published in the medical journal, The Lancet Infectious Diseases, estimated that about 0.66% of those infected with the virus will die. 0.66%. So less than 1%. So we have effectively unemployed millions of people. You have people's businesses, small businesses, going out of business. You have people don't know how they're going to pay their bills tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first, you guys, because of a 0.66% death rate. Once we really see the numbers and how the economy goes over the next couple of months, we'll see if it was all worth it. That coronavirus death rate, which is lower than earlier estimates, oh, you think? And you notice they didn't put the number in here. Takes into account, because they were estimating like hundreds of thousands of people, okay? Takes into account potentially milder cases that often go undiagnosed, but it's still far higher than the 0.1% of people who are killed by the flu. When undetected infections aren't taken into account, the Lancet study found that the coronavirus death rate was 1.38, which is more consistent with earlier reports. Early in March, for example, Dr. Anthony Fauci, I don't know how to say his name, the director of the U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, said that if you just do the math is about 2%. So we're not even at 2%. But he emphasized that number could go down, saying that as a group is going to depend completely on what the factor of asymptomatic cases are. That's because death rates typically only consider reported coronavirus cases, which tend to be more severe, and thus brought the attention of healthcare workers. Asymptomatic cases or mild cases may not always get counted. I still don't know how to say that, Kev Chat. In this study, researchers tried to estimate the true infection fatality rate. In other words, out of everybody infected, not just those sick enough to get tested, how many people will die. To find out, researchers looked at how widespread infections were among people repatriated to their home countries on flights from Wuhan, China. According to the study, these people received PCR tests, a type of test that will be able to identify how many of those travelers were shedding the virus, even if they didn't show symptoms. Researchers combined their data on infection prevalence with public information on reported cases and deaths, estimating the overall death rate to be about 2/3 of 1%. That number, though, went up in older adults, with approximately 7.8% of those 80 or older estimated to die after an infection. And deaths were estimated to be exceedingly rare in children younger than 9, with a fatality rate of just 0.00161%. So I'm going to link this article below, but it goes on to talk about the different percentages for the different age groups. All right. So just remember 0.66%. So this is them slowly pulling back. All right. Y'all are going to see that going on more in the next couple of weeks. Just make sure you mark my words. All right, so I also have this link here. I will also link this below, worldometers.info. It has the information for your state, how many deaths per state. In Virginia, I think yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, when Governor Ralph Northam came out and announced that he was going to do this full lockdown, didn't want people going anywhere. He had 25 deaths in the entire state. So here we are threatening businesses, not sending kids to schools. I don't know. You may look at the numbers and it may be worth it to you. We're going to have to see in hindsight. We're going to have to come back in a couple of months and compare this economy. And when we see all the people that have lost jobs, lost their homes, lost their cars, don't know how they're going to feed their kids, technically dying of poverty, we're going to have to look back and compare those numbers to this virus. Now, let's talk about communism. Let's talk about a couple of ways that in a communist state, the government controls the people. And let's take a look at that and compare it to some of the things that have been going on during this crisis. What's the first thing you do? You control the media. Do you remember in China when people were actually trying to blow the alarm about the coronavirus? You had people going missing, possibly dead. People not being able to access the rest of the world to tell them and let them know what was actually going on, so we could have possibly been more prepared, maybe have known a little bit more about the actual numbers. What if the actual, hey Kim, what if the actual virus, the real virus, is communism? So the first thing they do, of course, we want to control the media. All the things your money could go towards. And I'm not really wanting to tell people what they have to spend their money on, but I just find this super interesting when we know the role that Facebook plays with the government and with the media. So all the things going on right now, you have a lot of kids out of school, don't have school lunches. You have people losing jobs. You have people losing their businesses, losing homes. What does Facebook want to do? 25 million in news organizations and spending 75 million more to help. This is according to CNN Business. Facebook will give 25 million in emergency grants for local news to support journalism during the coronavirus pandemic, and will spend 75 million more on ads. I wonder what kind of ads. With news outlets that have seen a significant decline in their revenue. Because of course we have to keep the propaganda going. If we don't do anything else, we have to continue to control the propaganda, because we definitely cannot quarantine the news. We can't just cut the news out for a couple of weeks like we're cutting the schools out. Can't let that happen. Of course not. Though readership and viewership is up during the pandemic, we know this because that's what the news media does. They're going to milk this as much as they can. Many news organizations have seen revenue drop from lost advertisements. Why are they losing advertisements? Because people aren't buying as many products. That's for one. Events and other money-making avenues across the world, local news organizations in particular have been hard hit, with some shutting down their print editions, furloughing, and laying off staff. Facebook says $100 million investment is in addition to $1 million in grants for local news outlets and $2 million in grants to fact-checking efforts. The synonym for fact-checking efforts is censorship. That's basically what that means, translation. Both of which had previously announced. Many news organizations are intensely struggling because of the economic fallout from the outbreak. Even though news consumption generally is on the rise because everybody's freaking out, everybody's in hysteria, everybody's glued to their phone, you have to know the next thing that's going to happen, okay? This is literally driving some people crazy and driving some people actually to be sick, to be ill. And in some cases, you're seeing subscriptions go up. That increase isn't enough to make up for the loss that many news organizations are experiencing in ad dollars. We're in this position to help, so we are. I bet you are. So that's one thing. All right. The propaganda keeps flowing. They're not going to stop there, okay? What's the next thing? Our country is out here acting a fool, boy, I tell you. First, they control the news, and then they surveil you. Sounding like China yet? This is according to MSN.com. The CDC will set up a coronavirus surveillance and data collection system as a part of the Senate's $2 trillion stimulus bill. Y'all didn't know y'all was getting that, huh? Just thought you were getting a couple of $1,200 checks, a couple of bailouts here and there. Don't even know you're signing up for your own surveillance. This is what we're signing up for. This is what we're agreeing to. People are so scared. We're so in a frenzy. We're so in a time crunch. We're willing to sell whatever. This is why they got mad at Thomas Massey. No. We don't have time to look at all those details. Screw that. Just sign the, I think it ended up being like an 800-page bill. Just sign the bill. Get it over with. Send me my $1,200 check. This is what happens when you don't watch the hands of what your politicians are actually doing, what they're signing, what they're inking on paper. I'm not talking about the play and the theatrics that they get up and do for you guys in front of the podium, in front of Congress. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the acting. That's cute and all, right? But while they're telling you, oh, Nancy Pelosi is coming to save the day, she's coming to save the little guys, the poor people, this is what they're doing. They can all agree to this kind of stuff. This is when you see them come together. The CDC will launch a new surveillance and data collection system to track the spread of the coronavirus in the U.S. The agency will receive emergency funding as a part of the bipartisan stimulus package passed Wednesday. Of that, $500 million will go public health data surveillance. I don't even like that word. And analytics infrastructure modernization. Tracking the spread of the virus will be a balancing act for the agency. I bet it will. Because now they got a balance between surveilling and your privacy. Do we really think they're going to do that? Honestly. Which will have to navigate privacy laws as it expands in surveillance. The Senate passed a bill late Wednesday that will pump emergency funding. Emergency. We got to get the boots on the ground running for this 0.66 death rate. We need to surveil their every movement. Make sure we keep them safe. Emergency funding into the CDC to combat the coronavirus, including a system to gather data on how the virus is spreading. Do y'all remember I did a story not long ago, this was probably like a couple of months ago, where some insurance agency was saying they were going to start tracking patients to make sure they're keeping up with their health regimen, right? And I told y'all my concerns with that. I told you that if you have, first of all, just freedom in the first place, I don't want my insurance company tracking me with AI. I don't want that. Then you're going to give people the right to deny you because you had to miss a prescription because you can't afford it. You chose to eat a burger on the weekend. Now they want to deny your benefits. No. And so all of this is going to start coming together. All of this is going to be coming to play very soon. Let's not forget the government props up Big Pharma. Let's not forget that. All right? And let's not also forget that they always use the word safe, right? When they're about to basically cross your freedoms or your privacy. It's always safety. It's for your safety. It's the best for you. Think Patriot Act. Think crime bill. Oh, we just want to keep your neighborhood safe. How'd that work out? Oh, we just want to keep you safe from the terrorists. Did they ever roll back on that? Do they ever roll? The more power they take, do they ever roll back on it after the fact? After it's safer? Gotta put safer in air quotes. So what is it really about? Is it starting to sound like China yet? I don't know, maybe. Phone apps in China track coronavirus. I want y'all to know what they're over here doing in China, because I think the virus that transferred here might have been communism. People in China are using mobile phone apps to follow and perhaps help slow the spread of the coronavirus. Some apps provide up-to-date information about the locations with the virus, while others collect data on infected persons. The Chinese government is working with two of the country's largest technology companies to track the disease. Like our government was just asking to work with Facebook and Google last week. Interesting. Alibaba Group and Tencent Holdings created color-based systems. I want y'all to listen to this because this is creepy to me. And y'all don't even see we're like literally 1 foot away from this. Created color-based systems that record the health of individuals and identify carriers of the coronavirus. Now we really about to start seeing who's essential and non-essential. See, some of y'all haven't even computed the weight of those terms yet. Essential and non-essential workers. See, y'all gonna start putting it together in a second. Let's keep reading. Last week, Alipay, a payment app operated by Alibaba, released a system using colored QR codes that shows the health of people. A QR code links the user to an internet site with information about a subject. Users in Hangzhou, I think that's how you say it, can use the app to report their official identification number and seek information. Individuals are asked to report recent travel outside the city, as well as symptoms of the flu, such as high body temperature or strong cough. After completing the questionnaire, users receive a mobile phone message that includes a color-based QR code related to the health condition they describe. Users with a red code are told to quarantine themselves for 14 days and continue reporting their conditions. Users with the yellow code are told to stay in quarantine for 7 days, while those with a green code travel freely. All right. People living in Hangzhou told Reuters they were asked to show QR codes when entering apartment buildings. Another individual told the news agency that she was asked to show her QR code before entering the local supermarket. Alipay said it was working with the government to expand this system nationwide. We're practically in a movie now. This is like next level craziness. They have to scan you. They have to scan your QR code, a color-coded system. Are you essential or non-essential, to say whether you can come in this grocery store, whether you can come into your own apartment. Now you have an American government that's also working with some of the biggest tech companies to surveil you. What's the next thing they do in a communist country? They control movement. They control travel. They restrict travel. This is according to Business Insider. Employees at an essential business like McDonald's and Target are being told to carry around a letter to be allowed to work as other locations close amid the coronavirus outbreak. Hey, Raymond. Employees, I'm gonna say it again because I want I want y'all to feel the weight of this. Employees at essential businesses like McDonald's and Target are being told to carry around a letter to be allowed to work as other locations close amid the coronavirus outbreak. Kev Chat said, "We are slaves." What does that sound like? What does that sound like? Free slave papers? I can travel here. I'm allowed here. I'm essential. As restaurants, bars, movies, theaters, and other community centers temporarily shutter to ward off the spread of the coronavirus, retail workers, as a part of essential businesses, are still generally expected to come into work. Let's use our common sense here. How do we know that the essential workers aren't asymptomatic? How do we know that? They're going to work every day. A lot of these essential workers, when we think about retail, when we think about fast food restaurants, these are teenagers, young people. When we think about grocery stores, how do we know these people aren't asymptomatic? How is any of this making sense to people? California, Connecticut, Illinois, New York, Delaware, New Jersey, and Louisiana have all issued stay-at-home orders amid the coronavirus outbreak. Employees at Target, McDonald's, and other essential businesses who work in these regions are being told to carry official letters. You need a letter from the principal to go down the street. Letters of approval to show that they are authorized to work during shutdowns. Big box stores are considered essential businesses and therefore not required to shutter amid the pandemic. Once again, saving the corporations. Big box stores, essential. Small businesses, mom and pop, not so essential. Not so essential. But we're going to let the corporations keep making their money, though. While many restaurants and bars have closed, most chains have been encouraged to serve food via drive-through and delivery, with President Donald Trump meeting with fast food executives on the role these companies will play during the pandemic. Retail and fast food employees who work and commute in regions with shutdowns are therefore not subject to the rules as other citizens are. So we got control the news, surveillance. Now you're restricting travel. What's the next thing they do? Militarization. Militarization. Rhode Island governor announces National Guard will go door to door to identify New Yorkers to slow COVID-19 spread. See, it's about to make sense to somebody, because while they were doing this, they're telling you not to look at the man behind the curtain. They're not telling you all these moving parts that when we strictly just look at numbers, not moving off emotions, we don't want anybody to have an untimely death. We don't want that. However, we have to be logical. We have to look at the numbers. You have to. When you are doing something that is a ripple effect and that is going to affect people's schools, their homes, their 401ks, their savings, their livelihood, their transportation. You have to look at these things logically. You have to look at the numbers. Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo announced during a press conference on Friday that the state would take drastic steps to pinpoint individuals who have recently traveled to New York in an attempt to stem the spread of COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus. Right now, we have a pinpointed risk that we need to address, and we need to be very serious. And the risk is called New York City, she said. Over the past week, New York has become epicenter of the coronavirus crisis in the United States. As of Saturday afternoon, Eastern Time, New York had at least 52,318 confirmed cases of COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus. According to a tracker by Johns Hopkins University, then that's nearly half of at least 115,547 cases in the entire United States. In comparison, Rhode Island currently has at least 203 confirmed cases per the tracker. She had previously issued an order enforceable by law that anyone coming to Rhode Island in any way from New York must be quarantined for 2 weeks. They could be in a hotel, they could be in rental property, they could be in your own summer home. She announced that starting on Friday afternoon, state police will monitor highways and pulling over anyone with New York plates and asking them for contact information. Officials will order you into quarantine if you plan to stay in Rhode Island. So now we're going door to door to identify people. And we're going to order you, if not, just haul you right off to quarantine. And then control. Just plain old control. You have people trying to have Cuomo here banning cigarettes. You have people calling gun places non-essential. I think you had people shutting out places that sell alcohol. I didn't even know that many places in many states, y'all correct me if I'm wrong or saying it's wrong, but I'm just now learning that a lot of these places that sell liquor, alcohol are like state or government ran. Like, and I had no clue. So now I don't even know if they're forcing some of the maybe local places to close, or maybe they're saying, well, oh, you know, we have stock in this, so you can stay open, you're essential. Cuomo considering banning cigarette sales for 6 weeks amid coronavirus outbreak. But if you know anything about New York City, you've had the mayor and the governor trying to ban the sale or limit the sale of cigarettes and tobacco products now for the longest. So this has already been happening. So now you're just trying to basically show us, you're trying to flex your muscle. You're trying to flex your muscle. You've already been trying to do this, but now that a lot of these governors, mayors have emergency executive power, now they feel like they can just do whatever without passing it through Congress. Oh, I saw a little report that said this may help a small percentage of people. Let's cut this out. Let's not do this. You can't move here. You can't sit here. You can't go there. You can't meet there. You can't do this. You can't do that. No large events. And my only question is, 0.66%. 0.66%. Is it justified? Those measures, controlling the news or trying to influence the news, I should probably say, surveilling citizens, ramping up surveillance, saying whether people are essential or non-essential, basically giving people hall passes to go down their own roads, to move about in their own communities. Militarization, having people knock door to door to find out if you travel here or not. Controlling things like alcohol and guns and liquor. Over identification. Is it based on these numbers that we have? Your predictions have not matched what we've seen. It's not matching. It's not adding up. Do the math. The original numbers that they were giving us, we have not seen it to this extent. All of us want to be safe. All of us want to live. But my problem is, and I've told y'all this before and I'll say it again, the government will help put you in this situation because of how the response to this has went. Then they will put in orders. They will use executive powers to push in very bad policy, but they never rescind it. They never backtrack. That's the problem. I think the vote came up again just like 2-3 weeks ago for the Patriot Act again. And so they've gone so far in this sleight of hand. It seems like nobody cares because you're in the hysteria. And people only care about the very surface level. Oh my gosh, the term Chinese virus is racist. I want to know the numbers, the logistics, the solutions. I don't care about the conjecture. I don't care about the fake wokeness. Okay? I don't know if y'all follow me on Instagram. I just talked about this. It's a freaking virus going on in China right now called the African swan flu or African swan virus. Freaking virus started right in China. However, they are blaming Africa for this virus. China is like one of the top pork producers for the world. And so this is killing like 50% of their food supply. And they're trying to pin it on Africa. How many people you see calling China racist for this? Do you think China gives a crap? China cares about the image of their country and their economic power. That's what China cares about. While we're over here crying about the names of stuff, and we should be focusing on the numbers and our economic powers. And while we're not focusing on the numbers, there's a lot of people that are already suffering and are going to suffer harshly over these next couple of weeks if things don't change. And so, yes, we want to encourage people, wash your hands, take safety precautions. If you know you have underlying conditions, take extra safety precautions. But what I'm not okay with is government officials flexing their muscles on our dime, passing BS legislation because they know people are in a heightened sense of fear right now, and trampling on our freedoms. I'm not okay with that. And me looking at the numbers right now, I just don't see the trade-off. I don't see that it's a fair trade-off. Maybe y'all see that, but in the numbers, I'm not seeing that reflected. I'm just not. And so it's just really unfortunate. It's a lot of people. The media is very, very powerful. Y'all have to be very aware of what you are internalizing. I talk about that all the time with the movies you watch, even the music you listen to, the things you read, and the media that we watch. You don't want to be bombarded with fear mongering. You want to be logical, and you want to look at the numbers of things, especially when we know the media gets paid for the clicks. The scarier they can get, y'all. And this is also, and I've talked about this before, it's like we're addicted to bad news. We like scary things that make us uneasy. You are more likely to click on something that makes you mad or makes you fearful than a story that would make you happy. It's just the truth. And we know this is how the media, we know this is how they butter their bread. So I just need people to always be aware of that. That you have to always remember that in the back of your head. Any news story that you are internalizing from mainstream media, it's their job to sensationalize it because it's how they make their money. They have to make you click. They have to keep you watching. So, in anger, like Edward said, Raymond said, does the governor ever under the Constitution have authority to give an executive order overriding the Bill of Rights right to peaceful assembly? And see, that's another thing. If not, it must be martial law. That's another thing. And that's a really good question. And that's the problem. And Raymond, you bring up a really good point. That's another problem with our education system, right? Because a lot